Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Illustration Department podcast. My name is Giuseppe Castellano. In this podcast, I talk to folks in illustration, graphic design, publishing, animation, and other creative fields about their work, the lessons they've learned, and the bumps and bruises they've experienced along the way. In this episode, my guest is New York Times bestselling illustrator Julien Chung. How old is too old to be starting a children's book career? That's a trick question. You are never too old. Among other topics, Julien and I look back on his road to getting published and why it started a bit later in life. We talk about how Lois Ehlert's, quote, wild style, chicka changed children's publishing. Sorry, I had to. And Julien points out what an illustrator can do to add their voice to the publishing discussion. I hope you enjoy our conversation.
I listened to a couple of interviews yesterday, so I have a sort of an idea of how it works. It's good.
All right, so you just admitted that you don't listen to my podcast.
Actually, I don't listen to any podcasts.
What do you listen to?
I don't listen to anything.
Really?
Because it distracts me. Also, I do have a hearing problem in one ear. I do have tinnitus.
Okay.
So that's like a constant buzzing.
Okay.
But I guess the real reason is that, I do like music and I do listen to pop music, but it just distracts me from work.
I'm the opposite. I need to have something in my ear while I'm writing. Not when I'm editing podcasts, obviously. I'm listening to the podcast as I'm editing it. But even then, I play music in the background really quietly. I don't know. It's a distraction. I wouldn't call it a distraction. It's more of it's there to kind of help me stay focused.
That's very interesting because previously I worked a lot in cafes before going to my day job. And I usually work in the cafes that was right next to the subway station. And it was a constant stream of people going around. And the cafe itself was not larger than a bedroom or two bedrooms together.
Oh, geez.
And it was really hectic, but it was so much fun. And that didn't bother me. I could work in that. And obviously at my job, I could work also because I worked at a newspaper. There was a lot of noise at all levels, but I could do that. But at home, if there's music, somehow I just can't concentrate. So, yeah.
Yeah, well,
to each
their own.
Yeah.
Do you recall? Wait, did you and I just say the same thing?
Yes, we did.
Nice.
So,
all right. Great minds think alike. I don't know what that means about us. I mean, when I go find some great minds, I'll ask them. But sorry, dad joke. I don't know if you recall, but we met in 2015 or so when I came up to Montreal for a conference.
Right.
It was you and someone else. I don't remember who the other person was. I do recall there was a second person.
Yes, there was two of us. We were two SCBWI volunteers.
Canada East, right?
Canada East, yeah. And we were the Montreal representatives. The reason she drove and I just had talk, because I said to our regional coordinator that I can't drive and talk at the same time comfortably. It's one or the other. So I said, I'll go, but I'll go if the other person goes. Her name will come back. First name was Julie. So you had Julie and Julien in the car with you at that time.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I recall you guys picked me up from the airport. And
that's right.
We were driving to the hotel, which I recall had a koi pond in the lobby.
Yes. The Chinatown Holiday and
right. And it was like right by the highway, but like the highway was like subterranean or something. And you could cross the bridge over into like a really pretty part of Montreal, which I can't remember. Old Town or something?
Yes, Old Montreal, that's right.
Old Montreal, yeah.
Right, yeah.
It was a really enjoyable weekend and it was a great conference. Sydney Smith was one of the faculty members.
He was.
Debbie, Deborah. Oh my God, I've worked with her so many times. For East West Literary. Deborah.
As East West, the other partner, was that my agent, Ruben Pfeffer? Was he at East West?
Was he at East West?
He was before going to doing his opening his own agency.
Deborah Warren, and I did not look it up, I swear. It came back to my brain. Deborah Warren was another faculty member, and there were a few others I can't recall.
Yeah.
And I remember walking around the portfolio showcase. I mean, there were some stellar illustrations and portfolios in that crew. And I remember when I was walking around, I think I might have been judging it.
Yeah, it's possible.
One of the agents was sort of following me around. At the time, I was the executive art director at Penguin, and I guess the agent wanted to know what my opinion was. Yeah. So I'd look at a portfolio and go, wow, this is amazing. And then the agent was like making notes, like maybe I should reach out to this person and offer a representation. So I hope that happened. I don't know if it did, but it was cool. It was a really cool thing. And the one thing I do remember you telling me in the car on the way to the hotel was the whole like mafia highway issue with Montreal and how the system was falling apart because the mafia had the contracts to build the highways and they were undercutting the materials and it was all built on sand or something.
That's right.
I mean, this was 11 years ago, so hopefully things have improved.
No, things have evolved. The big guy is in prison or he's on parole at this point. He owes millions of dollars to the government. What's happened now is that Montreal in the last 5 years has become a city of orange cones. It's almost impossible to drive around the city. My daughter lives on the island, but my wife and I live in the suburbs. We have to take a bridge or a tunnel to get into Montreal. So our tunnel is under renovation for the next 5 years. There's orange cones all over the city, so they're redirecting you left and right. And there's no parking anymore. So the best way to go in is through the subway system.
Okay. Do you still volunteer for SCBWI?
I have slowed down in the last years volunteering, but at one point, a couple of years ago, I was illustrator coordinator for Canada East. Yeah. I was also the president of Illustration Quebec that represented 350 illustrators in the province.
Okay, Julien.
And that took up. Oh yeah, I sort of burned out on that one. I was trying to do too much. I was just about to retire from my day job, and not unknowingly, I was about to get a big contract that would keep me busy for the next 2 years.
Right. So you didn't you retired from one thing, but you weren't really you weren't living the R&R life. You were working even harder, probably, is my assumption.
Well, I tell you, I'm supposed to be retired, but I'm not.
That's not my game, Julien. That's not my plan. When I retire, you will never hear from me again.
Well, I mean, this is the interesting thing. I'm a late bloomer or latecomer to the illustration business, and particularly latecomer to children's books.
Segues beautifully into my next question for you.
Yes, my agent just told me a few weeks ago that he's really surprised that my career is at this point at my age that I'm having kind of like I'm at a mid-level, mid-career children's book illustrator.
What is that?
And I still have jobs coming in. I'm going to be busy for the next year and a half.
He's surprised because you're of your age.
Yes, I am. I
popular despite your age.
Kind of. There's a little bit of ageism there, but you know.
Yeah. Come on, Ruben. The heck?
Ruben and I are probably the same age, and he's still going too. So I mean, but this year, this is 2026. So I'll be becoming 68 years old this year.
Okay, congrats.
Thank you. This is probably the best time of my career that I've had that I'm working on.
I love hearing that,
right
Julien.
now. Yeah.
I'm loving that you're saying that. One of the questions I often get from illustrators that I mentor is, am I too old for this?
Oh,
and they're not
true?
68.
Well, this is the wonderful thing, particularly about children's books. One reason why I went into children's book is that it's generally a kinder industry, and it's more accepting of age differences than other industries. I've mentored also illustrators of different levels, different experiences in different industries, and I found that children's book is the most welcoming one.
Right.
I'm coming from the editorial side of things. Mm-hmm. The editorial and newspaper business, as you know, is a daily deadline type of thing, so that required a lot of energy and speed.
Which paper?
I worked for last 30 years. I worked for La Presse, Montreal's French language daily.
Were you designing for them?
I was at one point. I'd done everything. Was the art director. I was director of the photography department. I was in charge of production, and I was graphic designer.
Were you hiring illustrators?
Yes, I was. In the 90s, I was hiring illustrators. I tell you, when I signed up with La Presse, when they hired me as the art director, my job was to bring in the Macs because they had one Mac.
And who's Mac?
Yeah, who's Mac?
The computer.
Yeah. Right. And that one Mac was used to print out the weather map. And the graphic designers that I was supervising were already 60 years old or 62 years old. They were grandfathers, and I came in and I was only some 30 or something.
Gotcha.
So that was the beginning of that.
Back in the 80s as a designer, you didn't have Photoshop. So what were you doing? How were you putting together boards? What was your design responsibility? Like, paint a picture for us on how to be a graphic designer / in
the old days,
commercial artist in the mid 80s.
Yeah. We were hired as students based on our technical ability. Were we able to use what were those things called, to draw a straight line in black ink, like a ruling pen?
Rapidographs?
This was the rapidographs were used at that time, but if we could do it with the tool that was used before.
Yeah, I know that's what you're talking about. It's not a rapidograph, though.
It's not a ruling pen or something like that. Anyway, you had to dip it into ink, and you had to have really. So if you could do that,
I think
then
that's
you
what
were hired. Yeah. And then you could start at the bottom in the design studio and start with mechanicals. That's pre-production work for printers.
Were you adhering printouts for your mechanicals onto mechanical boards with wax? Yes,
we were running type through the wax machine.
I came in right at the end of that.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, and this is one of my main reasons why I went into graphic designs, because I could sit down at a drawing table and basically cut out paper and make up dummies for brochures and stuff, with cutting out pictures or drawing with a felt tip pens. And it was all basically handmade stuff that if we made a dummy for a brochure, well, we had to make a physical dummy, but we had to do it all by hand. And that's what the clients saw. They saw something that was really sketched out, very clean, but, in 3D on paper, folded. And that was a lot of fun. Computers, I didn't get into computers until the late 80s, early 90s. And I was already in the newspaper business at that time.
How many times did you cut yourself?
Not too often, but I heard of stories of people, the drawing table's at an angle, and the X-Acto knife would roll by accident, roll down the table, and they would implant itself in somebody's thigh.
Oh, God.
I remember one time our administrative assistant said she'd play a joke on one of the designers, and she thought she was spraying perfume all over the designer's desk because it smelled so strong. And then she realized she had just spray glued the whole desk, this lamp, all the papers, all the designer's pens, everything was covered in spray glue, and it was so sticky.
We had rubber cement. We had just tubs of rubber cement all over the butcher blocks at Simon & Schuster before Penguin. We also had it at Penguin too, but by then, those materials we were using them less and less. Then I remember back in the SNS when I was an assistant, I would use an X-Acto, a wax machine. We would print out covers for picture books and other books, children's books, cut the paper, run it through the wax machine, and then place it on black foam core, and then cut the foam core to the trim. And what I was taught was you don't cut it straight down, you cut it at an angle, because what we were doing, this sounds so archaic. This is like early 2000s. We were holding the covers up, physically holding them up during a covers meeting, showing them to the marketing team, the executive team, sales and stuff. And the reason you wanted to taper the cut is that you didn't want them to see the side of the foam core. You just wanted it was like a nicer display.
Yeah.
The blade is like at an angle. You got your T-square, and the T-square is kind of wiggling and never really.
Well, you know what it is?
It was scary.
It was, and but that was all part of the craft.
So while you were listening to, I don't know, Duran Duran or Thompson twins, or rather not listening to them while you were working in the 80s. Were you thinking about children's books at that point?
Yes, I was. My children were babies at that time, and I was doing paper cutout illustrations for the English language newspaper. And I was with a friend, and we had started thinking about, we could do a book. But it never went very far. We did like a few sentences, and I did a couple of sample illustrations, and that was it, because we did not know, one, how to break into the business. And number two is I was not really very good at finishing projects. This was a major problem that I had, was able to wrap up projects outside of work. I mean, if I had a job or project that had a deadline, for my clients, that was not a problem. But for myself, initiating projects, they just sort of, I did the first steps and then they just disappeared into, I didn't have time, and I couldn't imagine how to finish it. And my ability to finish projects came at the same time as the internet, because at the internet, that permitted me to do more research into different industries and then find my way through what I would like to do as an illustrator or as a creator, a graphic designer, aside from my day job. And then I was able to work on projects that I could actually finish. But after a while, when I had my midlife crisis in my late 30s.
Now we're getting into it.
Yes. Well, I heard that, the psychological aspects of this business interest you.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Yeah. And part of that process of reflection was, what could I do to keep my interest going without actually leaving my job? Or should I leave my job and do something else, go back to a studio and try different things? And
I talk to a lot of folks who are in that boat.
Oh, well, I am a believer in getting outside help.
Same.
Yeah. At that point, I worked with an orientation specialist, not somebody specialized in graphic design, but specialized in helping people find their direction.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Oh, yeah.
Orientation specialist.
Oh, yeah.
Is that the same as a life coach, or is that a little different?
I would think it's a little different, because they're really focused on your career, your abilities and interests, what really motivates you. And then also there's other aspects of the process where you go out and ask your coworkers what their opinion is of you, how they see you. Also, it is partly get to know yourself, but get to know yourself also through other people's eyes, which was kind of interesting. So I went to my boss and said, well, what do you think of me? And I went to my coworkers, what do you think of me? Am I like this or like that? So I got some feedback on how I was, how I appear to other people. I also got a lot of feedback on how I like to work, which was very revealing. And basically, I ended up, after 10 weeks, I ended up with a 20-page report that said, well, Julian's like this, like this, like this, and he likes to work like this and like this. And it basically said that I, as a graphic designer, I would like to continue in graphic design, but explore illustration. I would like to work on projects that are physical, that are small, that fit in my hand, which was interesting. And I also liked working in small teams. Whereas at the newspaper, you're committed at an editorial meeting, you usually have like 15 to 20 people, person from each department, and everybody just talks about things. And then just the assistant managing editors is already 10 people. But personally, I liked working with just 2 people or 3 people. Yeah. And books were part of the possibilities, because books are basically they fit inside both hands. They're physical objects. They represent a lot of creativity. But I didn't start with books because I was scared of doing books.
Why?
First, I didn't know anything about the book industry, publishing industry. Yeah. And I also decided that I wanted to work on one-off projects. When I was head of the photography department, I kind of liked the photographers' style of work, because they would go and they work on a project. Their project lasted a couple hours at the newspaper, and then they would go to another project. So during the day, they would do 2 or 3 projects. Then they would go home at night. They wouldn't think about it. Next day, they would do 2 or 3 more projects. It was the opposite of being like my dad wanted to be at one point, and he wanted his kids to be architects. But as you can imagine, architects' projects are years.
Sure.
years of thinking about it, planning. My younger brother became an architect, but I didn't. I went my mother's route towards graphic design because I don't have the patience to wait for years for a building to go up.
What I find interesting about that is you sound to me like somebody who wants to, do a job and sort of see the results in short order.
That's right.
And you picked children's publishing, which isn't exactly the quickest
isn't it?
industry in the world. Your books take a year to 2 to 3, if not longer.
That's right.
From like contract to book release.
Right. Well, I probably it's because I've learned to become more patient in the last 25 years.
You've mellowed out in your old age, Julien.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. And also, I the newspaper business was giving me that satisfaction of seeing a project done quickly, put out, and next day it's gone, and then you think of the next thing.
So moving away from the newspaper business into the children's publishing business.
Yeah.
What was like that final transition over to, okay, I need to turn more of my attention, if not all of my attention, over to bookmaking?
Right.
And how old were you at that point?
Well, I've been bookmaking since 2014, 15. So
okay. So it was right around the time that I met you.
Yeah, right. I was just really beginning. Yeah.
Okay.
So I was in my mid 50s.
Yeah.
The first one was Le Vélo de Petit Lion, which translates to Little Lion's First Bicycle.
Cute.
And I also did a book called Dépêche-toi, which means hurry up. And that was a black and white board book, just of animals. And there's a little storyline. It was done with a French author, so we had a kind of a European French approach to that book.
I know that you were a Šašek fan from your childhood.
Right.
Because of the multicultural nature of your family, and you were into, Šašek's books of showcasing different cities and whatnot.
Right.
Father's in architecture, your mother's in graphic design. You have essentially, several lives or several careers, the first being, predominantly in graphic design. Šašek was an early influence. So a lot of that, you read up on all of that, and then you look at the work that you've done so far.
Yeah.
A lot of it lines up. No pun intended.
well, that's
so
good.
It's like you couldn't even escape it if you tried. I mean, there is an architectural design for sure approach to most of the work that you do, if not all of the work that you do, which then leads me to this question: were you always a Lois Ehlert fan, or did that sort of get sprung on you?
No, that's a good question. Lois Ehlert, I discovered her in the 90s. I liked her work right off the bat. She did paper cutouts, which I was doing, like I said, at the English language newspaper, the Gazette, the Montreal Gazette. I was doing exactly that. I was cutting out paper in much the same way Lois Ehlert was done. And when I found out she was doing children's books, I bought a number of her books, and I looked at what she was doing. And she also was a graphic designer.
Yes, she was.
I looked at her process, and and she did books with die cuts and stuff like that. So I thought that was fantastic.
She had a super bumpy early part of her career. She got rejected by publishers who rejected her because of her bold colors and, quote, wild style. And one reviewer, I believe this was for Growing Vegetable Soup, referred to her work as, quote, garish.
Yes.
And then Chicka Chicka Boom Boom comes out in 1989, which essentially, in my opinion, the opinion of others, changes the game.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that other books didn't have this up until then, but this is what was so great about Lois Ehlert in general. It was that she wasn't thinking in just a sort of simplistic, like, oh, it's for kids, they're not going to understand that. She treated kids like the absolute complex, curious, interesting people that they are.
Right.
She didn't play down to them. She used, like you said, she used every kind of material, not concerned at all about whether or not kids would understand it. She used seeds, ribbons, bottle caps.
Right.
It wasn't just collage paper. It was collage stuff, and made art out of it. And of course, kids were like, I'm all over this. You know what I'm saying? Right. So then she was asked about this. They asked her, why don't you ever put people in your books? She says, you're the person in the book.
Yeah.
The reader.
Yeah.
God, she was amazing. She passed in 2021, in May, actually, this month.
Right.
In 2021, same week as Eric Carle.
Yeah.
So you were a fan.
Yeah.
And then was it Chicka Chicka Ho Ho Ho? Was that the first one that came out?
The first one that I did was Ho Ho Ho.
Was there one between that and Boom Boom?
Yeah, well, there was Chicka Chicka 1, 2, 3.
Which she did.
Which she did.
Okay.
Which I was told was not a success and which she didn't feel very good about.
Because it wasn't successful, or she just wasn't good about she didn't feel good about the art or the book itself?
I couldn't tell you. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know what the story is there.
Just make it up, Julian.
Yes, just make
We'll
it up,
believe you.
sure.
Just say it with enough confidence, everyone will believe you.
Oh yeah, for sure. But I believe
But you're
that's
Canadian.
probably-
I don't expect you to lie to us.
That's very good. That's good.
And by the way, I would much prefer orange cones all over my life than one orange president. Just putting that in as a side note.
Okay.
Give me all the orange cones, Julian. All of them. This podcast is produced by the Illustration Department, a global leader in online education for illustrators. Visit illustrationdept.com for offerings like mentorships and portfolio reviews, testimonials, our alumni showcase, our best-selling Substack, and more. That's illustrationdept.com. And now, back to our conversation.
As I understood it, Lois didn't want to do any other sequels to Chicka Chicka. And as I understand it, she didn't want to do Ho Ho Ho. Because Ho 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 was in the editor's files for a long time.
Was this Alan?
Yes, this
Johnston?
is Alan Johnston, yes. And just for people that don't know, interesting coincidence, well, for me, Alan Johnston was Lois Ehlert's editor for 30 years.
Yeah.
So
at Harcourt. The first book was with Harcourt. Yeah.
Right. And Alan Johnston literally, coached her, worked with her for all those years on all the books.
And I had like a little bit of a front row seat there because I was an SNS at the time.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, okay.
A little bit. It was like toward the end of it.
Okay.
Because I think Alan might have moved to California. Like
when they started
she was
Beach
there
Lane.
when I was there for a couple of years, and then she went to California.
Right.
If I'm remembering correctly, yeah.
Right. Was Ruben Pfeffer not?
He was there at the office for a year or two.
Okay. Was he a VP at that time?
I don't remember what his title was. He was sort of almost like a ringer editor.
Okay.
I don't remember exactly what the official title was, but he came in and there was a big email about, hey, everybody, Ruben Pfeffer is coming in and he's going to be editing. I don't know if it was for SNS Books for Young Readers or if it was for Margaret McElderry books. I don't remember exactly what the imprint was. Okay. But yeah, he was there for a couple of years. We were in the same area.
Right. And as I understand it, he and Alan Johnston.
I felt very intimidated by him.
Oh, he did?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
I did.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was for a long time. It's better now. I mean, we're the same age, and I'm still, but he's done a lot of good for me.
Sure. Sure.
So
we joke.
Yeah. I believe that he and Alan Johnston did, Beach Lane books together.
Yeah.
And then she continued there. And when I showed up, Ruben was holding my hand.
All hell broke loose.
No. But one of my entry points was, hey, I love Lois's work. That's my inspiration. I'm not sure if I knew that Alan Johnston was Lois's editor at that time, but it's a bit fuzzy in my mind.
Yeah.
And then she said, hey, I got this manuscript. You want to do it? It's a Ho 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 Christmas book. It's a Chicka Chicka book. Then Ruben kind of stepped in. We sat down, Ruben and I sat down for a month and discussed Chicka Chicka Ho Ho, but we also discussed whether this is a one-off or whether it could be a program. And Ruben basically discussed all this with Alan, who basically then pushed it upstairs, saying that it could be actually a relaunch and we could do more than just one book. And my particular role at that time was to do all kinds of mock-ups for at least 3 books.
Yeah.
So I did the Christmas book, I did a Halloween book, and I did a 3rd book on another subject. Just dummies, just throwing out illustrations in all kinds of styles, basically chicka styles, but the question was, is it going to be 100% chicka 1990, or is it going to be Julien Chung 2022?
Right.
So I was immersed in chicka boom boom, and I still am today, but for at least the last 2 years.
You know, Lois, referred to herself as a, quote, years-long overnight success.
Yeah.
Would you refer to yourself as that? In the children's book space, anyway.
I guess I am successful in other people's eyes as successful. I am successful in the sense that we can define what is successful for each individual. Success
you knew where I was going with that one.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Julien.
Well, like you said, this is like my 3rd or 4th career inside of the arts. Yeah. And by that time, I have a better idea what I want out of my career. Finally, at almost 70 years old, I finally decided, okay, now I know what I want. But number one, I wanted to leave something.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah. The newspaper business, as you can imagine, is like here today, gone tomorrow. That's it.
Right.
And I wanted to, I love physical objects, and I wanted to leave something for my children, kind of a legacy.
Yeah.
Actually, my first grandchild was my beta tester, and he worked on the dummies that I was presenting to the publisher.
By chewing on the corners. He did a very good job.
No, actually, it was the black and white book. So I had all these black and white spreads pinned up on the wall, and he's only like 3 months old, and I put him in front of him, and he started wiggling really, really, really hard, and he really liked that. And I took him down, went to the next drawing. Oh, he reacted very strongly to the black and white images.
After your grandson reviewed your printouts, I imagine he stroked his chin and looked up to you and said, "Are you sure you don't want to consider architecture?" Just a little humor there. Little humor there, Julien.
Yes.
Speaking of black and white, are you familiar with Tana Hoban?
Tell me what she did.
This is a long time ago.
Yeah.
She was born in the 19-teens, so this was a long time ago. But she did a bunch of board books. Perhaps one of the first, if not the first, but at the very least, credited for popularizing the black and white board book for babies format.
Okay.
The book that I think most people would know her for is literally called Black and White.
Okay.
And it's a series of photographs that were silhouetted in black on white or white on black.
Okay.
Yeah, Tana Hoban. Yeah, she's a lesser discussed, unfortunately, creator and forerunner of silhouetted books, collage, mixed media, black and white imagery, and a board book for kids for 0 to 3. I mean,
she's like Scandinavian or?
No, I don't think so.
American.
Yeah.
Okay.
We do some cool stuff from time to time.
That brings me to another point. As you know, I'm having a great time doing these books in the U.S., but like I said, I work in different markets for different reasons. And lately, my latest objectives are actually to work with publishers in other countries. So I've been going to the Bologna Children's Book Fair the last few years. Okay, and this year particularly was to expand my network with editors whom I don't know or who may have actually bought the foreign rights to some of my American books. And that was fun. That was my wife and I went around to different stands. We talked to different editors. I had appointments with different editors. And this is a long-term thing, even though I have to have it'll take several years before the new contacts will maybe generate book projects.
Some would say less time than it would take to erect a building.
I'm telling you, I'm getting more patient, although I'm very impatient because being at 68, you do have a kind of a deadline, in front of you.
Yeah. Well, let's go back to that success thing real fast.
Okay.
'Cause when I said success, I felt like the temperature in my room dropped like 5 degrees.
Yeah, I did. So, well, because it's the way the way I measure success for me personally.
Yeah.
In terms of children's books, is trying to do great children's books.
Okay.
And with the time,
now you have to define what that is, right?
Yes, I know. That also is yes. And I realize with time, it's very subjective.
Sure.
So, and this is why I said to Ruben, actually, my objective with Ruben as an agent, he said, "What do you want to get out of these next few years in doing books?" And I said, "Well, I'd like to finish up with a shelf of good quality books." And but my agent Ruben is also aware of this interest of mine of doing different kinds of books. Also, maybe breaking away from books that I'm known for.
Right. You haven't yet answered the question, though.
Yes. Okay.
What makes a children's book great?
Well, for me, what makes it great is that it's an engaging story. There's some kind of emotion that comes through.
Yep.
The illustrations are kind of pass on so that a reader can feel something. It's either the colors, the textures, the dynamics of the composition that are fantastic. For me, it's, well, also I like books that kind of break the rules.
Same. Not a big rules fan.
Yeah. Well, in general, in the book industry, I like sort of trying to break rules or figuring out how to break rules. It just comes naturally.
Yeah, there's so many rules, and I'm sure as an illustrator coordinator for SCBWI, for however many years you were part of that, and however many conferences you've been to, I'm sure you have heard, similar rules being flung about by faculty, and it's some stuff that makes sense and some stuff that doesn't, and then everything in the middle sort of echoes what other people have said in various ways, and it doesn't really serve the purpose, which is, and this is something that an editor and I sort of debated a little bit about once when we were at a retreat. Like, what's the point of these retreats and conferences and stuff? And I said, to get better.
Yeah.
And she said, "You're wrong. It's to get a book deal." We're kind of like apples and oranges a little bit. Like, it's both fruit. Like, to get better, to get a book deal. I mean, I think we're both saying the same thing, but that initial approach was, and I still maintain that, like, that should not be the goal. You should not go to a conference to get a book contract because, as you know, Julien, that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
You think it happens. It sounds like it happens, and then every now and then you'll hear about someone who goes to a conference and walks away with a contract or an offer of representation.
Right.
Every now and then that happens.
Right.
But 99.99997% of the time, it doesn't.
No.
But I guess what I'm trying to say here is, it's a lot of these, like, people are trying to figure out, how do I get better and how do I do this thing? And how do I learn more about this industry? Because it can be a little confusing sometimes. Although it isn't really a confusing industry, I think people confuse it, make it confusing.
Right.
The rules shouldn't be about what illustrators and writers can't do, but what they can do.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was my approach as a faculty for SCBWI over the years. I never wanted to stand up and be like, don't do this and don't use that color and don't write in rhyme and don't. It was more like, try that and try this and do this and look at that and here's the range. Here's what you can be doing. Anyway. Yeah,
I kind of agree. I mean, I've gone to these conferences as a participant, and then my objective was to get better. It was to learn what the parameters of the industry are. And as any business owner knows, also it's not so much rule. There are guidelines of how the client expects you. The client, in this case, could be the publisher, expects you as a supplier to operate. And these are the parameters. These are the guidelines. But there's no real rules unless it's some kind of legal legislation. You can push back and forth. You can push the the envelope a bit without too much problem. My portfolio at the outset was not a children's book portfolio according to SCBWI guidelines, but it still landed me an agent. And in a way, it's still landing me jobs today, although I would say the portfolio probably conforms a little more to what is expected of a portfolio at a portfolio show. But, the main complaint of these portfolio showcases in the past has been that a large percentage of these portfolios, they look alike. There's not enough illustrators standing out on their own. Whereas if you go to Bologna and you look at the illustrator exhibitions, you see, whoa, there's so many varieties of artwork and illustration that are out there that are being published by different publishers in different countries. It's crazy. So,
yeah, I think the point you and I are both trying to make here is, man, there's a much, much wider range in terms of what books can look like or portfolios can look like than what maybe people think.
Definitely.
Especially folks who are really trying to get into the industry
right.
and get that foot in the door.
Yeah.
Do feel like their work has to look a certain way, and that'll help them get into the door even
though
they're doing naturally.
Right.
And you know what I'm talking about.
Right. That's true. I know that in terms of publishing internationally, the Americans have other countries speaking the Americans as a fairly homogeneous market, and they say, oh, that's the Americans' illustration style. But in Czechoslovakia, the Czech Republic, it's this kind of style. In Eastern Europe, there's this kind of thing that's appreciated. Or sometimes, in Asia, it's also different visions that are generally accepted. So it's a French-Canadian artist may not sell well in France. The French publishers won't pick them up because the style doesn't appeal to the public. This is what these publishers, I find, are looking for when they're shopping illustrators for their own markets. They're looking at, this style of illustration, is it going to appeal to my readers? And then they have their own defined way of looking at illustrations.
Yeah,
I saw you kind of straddle that line a lot. As a matter of fact, some American publishers have said to me, your work looks so French, and we've been shopping for French illustrators. There was a year or two when a number of books were coming out by French creators. Their books were being licensed by American publishers, but I don't think it went very far, but that was for a few years.
Mm-hmm.
So that was interesting.
I'm still trying to recall, because I do remember there was a time where we were sitting around hanging out and talking, but I can't remember if we were in a conference room or maybe down at the hotel bar.
Yeah.
Somebody was with us, and I can't remember, an illustrator. Anyway, it was a really nice time. That Montreal trip was a really nice time, and I'm really glad that we had a chance to catch up 11 years later. 12 years later. Wow.
12 years later.
Or so. Yeah, somewhere around there. So from your perspective, what would you like to share with listeners, with illustrators and writers?
Okay.
What word of encouragement, word of wisdom, something that you've picked up over the years, as someone who's, started their children's book career a little bit later in life?
Right. Well, what has sustained me this long is that I'm really passionate about picture books. Looking and reading picture books is a very, very exciting and stimulating and satisfying experience for me. And I'm surrounding myself with all these great images and artwork and stories. So I think if you're passionate about it, that's one thing. Mm-hmm. I would say look around. I always look around. It's 100%. I'm always observing. I'm looking what's being produced visually everywhere, at the subway stations, at bookstores, at book fairs, on media, on social media. I'm just absorbing it all. And it's very exciting to see all the different ways of telling stories. And I think people starting out should feel free to explore their own creativity and find what's original, what they're adding to the discussion. what can they add as artists, creators, storytellers that would enhance the publishing field. And that requires a lot of self-reflection, thinking about what who you are and what you can bring.
To learn more about Julien, visit julienchung.com. If you find value in this podcast, consider becoming a patron. In return, you can access bonus episodes, receive invitations to our Art Directors After Hours series, and get a 10% off discount code for all ID offerings. Become a patron by visiting patreon.com/illustrationdept. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time.